All right. Once again, my name is Anthony Harris, principal of Frost Middle School. I'm super happy to have you guys here tonight to join me just for a little meet and greet and a little bit of information about Robert Frost Middle School and this school year in particular. I wanted to start off by saying that we had a great week this week, welcoming in 100 students, approximately 100 students for our Jumpstart program this week that ran from Monday through Wednesday. And today, we had almost 400 students participate in our Falcon Liftoff. If you can see, I'm going to put a project on my screen what happened today, what your students did today. If they participated in Liftoff, you can see they did a school tour, met with our student services representatives, their counselors to get some information about student services, did a little bit with our after school program, got a feel for that, had a snack. They had a practice schedule that they used to walk around the school building and learn how to navigate Frost a little bit. In addition to that tour, learn about how we do lunches here at Frost Middle School, learn a little bit about our morning and afternoon routines. And then they had an opportunity to pick up their laptop today. They got the laptop a little early if they were here and during liftoff. So this is what our students did today for liftoff. And then next week, we'll have opportunities for our 8th grade students to come in for our Falcon Swoop on Wednesday. And on Thursday, we have our 7th graders come in for 7th grade orientation. Before we get started, I'm going to stop my screen because I want everybody to see their faces. Before we get started, I'm going to have our PTA president and PTA vice president join our group and say a few words to folks that are here tonight. I'm going to start off with Miss Allison Pugsley. Hi, Allison, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. Good evening.
All right, thank you for joining us tonight and saying a few words on behalf of the PTA. Frost Middle School has had a great history of having a great partnership with our PTA, and we're looking forward to working with Allison this year under her leadership as the president of the PTA. So Allison, a few words, if you will.
All right, well, thank you.
Just FYI, folks, I asked Allison to say a few words right before you guys jumped on, so.
No judgment, guys.
No judgment.
So I'm Allison Pugsley. I have an 8th grader at Frost, and really excited for this school year. We would love to have volunteers. We had a lot of parents whose kids have gone on to Woodson, and so we have a lot of open committee chair positions. So if you want to be involved, please reach out and let us know. Please join the PTA. The link to join is on the PTA website and in the Frost Friends and Family Facebook page. The link on the website still says 2020 to 2021, but that's going to be updated. The link is actually will take you to the sign up for this year. So you can go ahead and do that. Ms. Morningstar circulated a sign up genius for asking for donations so that we can welcome the teachers back next week with treats and support them as their summer is ending. And then also, if you haven't joined the Frost Family Friends and Family Facebook page, it's not that easy to say, please go ahead and do so. You do need to answer the questions, but we are not restricting access just to PTA members this year. So you can answer no and we'll still admit you, but you do need to answer the questions. And then my last plug is our spirit wear now is all online through Squad Locker. And again, you can access that through the Facebook page or the main PTA website, and you can order everything online. And we're just looking forward to a great year. There's going to be a lot more information forthcoming. Should we let Pam say hi?
Hi, Pam.
Well, I have to say, I was having technical difficulties, so my IT specialist, my 10th grader was helping me, so I didn't get the warning that you were going to ask us to stay. So really asking for forgiveness. But anyway, I'm Pam Edwards. As I said, I have a 10th grader at Woodson, and then I have an 8th grader this year. So I've been around Frost for a while. This is going to be an interesting year. I think everybody's really excited, but a little bit nervous. I guess the best thing I would say, I second everything Allison said, because we are looking to get started and definitely need a lot of set of hands to help us do that. But I guess I would just say, try to reassure you that you are in good hands at Frost. I have seen that over the years, that the staff has been absolutely wonderful, extremely supportive. If you need anything, or you're a little bit nervous or not sure how things are working, please reach out. And we're just trying to get everybody to a nice start. So I think you'll be comfortable, and the staff is great. So I think you're going to enjoy the year.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you for those kind words. And, you know, if we don't get anything else from tonight, I want to echo those words from Pam. You know, we're going to take care of your children here at Frost Middle School. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I won't have all the answers tonight. I probably won't have all the correct answers as the year gets started, but we'll get there. And so we're asking everybody to have patience with us as we come back to school 5 days a week. I know there may be some anxiety, as well as a lot of excitement surrounding coming back to school. And so we're here to help. We're here to partner with one another as a school and a family community. And that's what I love most about Frost, is that partnership that we have, because I think everybody in this community wants to ensure that our students get the absolute best. And I'm proud to say that we've been able to deliver that for a long, long time here at Frost Middle School. And I'm sure that it's going to keep on going as we move forward. So I'm going to share my screen again and go over a couple slides here. Let me turn this on. Hope everybody can see my screen. Let me make sure. 1 second. Let's see. Can everybody see my screen? Make sure. Everybody see the presentation? I turned off. I allowed the video so you can unmute yourself. Can somebody tell me if they can see?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Okay, so just again, thank you for joining tonight. You know, we're going to have a little bit of time to get to know me, know a little bit about our vision and mission here at Frost Middle School. How we plan to welcome back our students by primarily building strong relationships, what to expect in the building, the technology that we have, and what do you need for the first day of school, plus some more items depending on the time that we have tonight. So here's my family. My wife, Rosalind, we've been married for approximately 16 years. And my beautiful daughter, Sydney, she is 10 years old. She's going into the 5th grade. And these two women are the love of my life. And they give me all the energy and inspiration that I need to do my job every day here at Frost Middle School. So this is my loving family. I love to play basketball, really into the Washington area team sports, even though sometimes we don't have a lot to cheer about. Love to travel, enjoy fishing. For those of you guys who are out there who like the Peloton, I'm an avid Peloton rider. Really enjoy hanging out with my daughter. She and I are best friends. I also, for the county, for all of the aspiring principals in Fairfax County, I am one of 2 principals that provides the professional development for that principal pool. And I'm also active as the president of the Fairfax Alliance of Black School Educators here in Fairfax County Public Schools. I was born and raised in a small town way down here, I don't know if you can see it, called Cape Charles, Virginia. Small town, but I grew up with small town values, strong work ethic, working hard every day and treating people with respect and kindness. And that's what I try to instill every day here at Frost Middle School. I went to undergrad at Virginia Tech, got my marketing education degree with a minor in business. And at George Mason, I received my Master's of Education Leadership back in 2006. And I have been in education for over 21 years. I started off teaching at the high school level at Herndon High School and Falls Church High School before moving down to the middle school. I taught at Holmes Middle School for a few years. And I was the assistant principal at Frost Middle School from 2010 through 2014 before moving on to Poe Middle School as an assistant principal for 4 years. And then 4 years ago, I was named principal of Frost Middle School. What I really love about Frost Middle School is basically everything. Frost is what I live and breathe. I love Frost Middle School. I don't want to go anywhere else. I mean, sometimes I can't believe they pay me to do this job. I love Frost Middle School because of the students, the community, and our fabulous staff. And as Pam and Allison said, our staff go above and beyond to ensure students have what they need here at Frost Middle School. As a school leader, these are the things I really believe are the strengths that I have. First, I love to build culture by building those relationships and having the best two abilities that I can think of, being available and also being visible. I really have a high expectations for teaching and learning. Make sure that our teachers have what they need as far as knowledge. Our admin team provides them with plenty of support, but they also have high expectations and accountability for ensuring that every student gets what they need here at Frost Middle School. And finally, I'm a kids come first guy. Anything that we do, we look through it from the lens of what do the students need. And I hope that you've seen that over this past 18 months and that you continue to see that as we move back into the building for 5 days a week this fall. So a little bit of information about Frost Middle School. I didn't have the admin team come out tonight. I wanted to give them some time to just rest and get prepared for our teachers and for our students. So Mrs. Champ is one of our assistant principals. She supports both 7th and 8th grade here at Frost Middle School, and you can see the departments that she supervises. Mr. Barrett will be working with our 8th graders this year, and he's in charge of science, PE, and the like. He likes to say that he's an overall good guy, and I can definitely agree. He's one of the best. Mrs. Hornbecker is our Director of Student Services. So she will be the person that you would contact for all things schedules and anything you might need with your counselors. So Mrs. Hornbecker is in charge of several departments as well, including our math department and our English language learner teaching department. Mrs. Porter is one of our 7th grade administrators. She is in charge of our English language art departments, music, theater arts, all the performing arts. And she also this year will be helping us to supervise social emotional learning this year, which is going to be a big push in Fairfax County and obviously at Frost Middle School as well. Finally, we have our final assistant principal, Mrs. Counts. She's the assistant principal in charge of our special education and specialized programs, including our comprehensive services site, our deaf and hard of hearing program, our adaptive curriculum program, and our reading intervention programs. You may have heard me talk about our vision quite a bit. You may have heard students over the last couple of years talk about we are one Frost. I remind students every day to work hard every day, to be nice to one another, and to widen your circle, and we are one Frost. And this comes directly from our school vision. Within our vision, which is Frost Middle School as a community where students and staff know that they matter while learning and growing together, we are one Frost are 2 ideals that I really hold dear. The first is the concept of collective advocacy, us understanding and knowing that we have the power and the skills to positively affect our students, which is actually the #1 indicator of student academic achievement. It's just your belief that you can do the job at hand. And secondly, a key idea within this vision statement is the concept of continuous improvement. While we know that we do a great job and we're good at what we do, we can always grow and improve each and every day. And that's a lesson that we model for ourselves and for our students. Here's a quick look at our mission statement. Again, Frost Middle School, as over the years, we've done a great job in ensuring that we have a caring, inclusive culture. We engage students to have experiences to inspire curiosity and problem solving, to address all of the issues that we see in a diverse and ever-changing world. So what is on the minds of our students and families as we launch into a new school year? I know, again, like we talked about earlier, there's a lot of joy. I know a lot of your students, your sons and daughters are, super excited to come back to Frost Middle School. And I'm telling you, I am super excited too. I'm a people person. The pandemic was not good for me because I like to get out and shake hands, give high fives, and be with people. So I know a lot of our students are really, really excited to come back. And I had an opportunity to talk to a lot of kids today and over the past 3 days at Jumpstart and Liftoff, and they're super excited. I know a lot of us have a lot of questions. Some may have some anxiety or some reluctance. So we have to prepare ourselves for all eventualities as a school and as a community as we move into the school year. So I tried to put together a presentation that would answer some of these questions. Again, I may not have all the answers tonight, but we'll try to go through some of these questions that you may have as families and parents and concerned citizens. What are the social distancing guidelines? What will lockers look like this year? Are masks required, etc. Where can I find just logistical information like my school bus and my bus stop? When will my class schedule be available, etc. So let's start with the personal distancing. Social distancing is some folks would call it. It will be in effect to the highest degree possible. We are striving for 3 feet of social distancing, but across all Fairfax County public schools, it will probably be extremely unlikely, especially in those larger classes, because most of our student population will be returning this year. And Frost Middle School, just so you know, Frost Middle School before the pandemic was at around 1,250 students. And this morning we're at 1,250 students. We don't have the issues that other schools have had with decreasing enrollment. Even during the pandemic, we got down maybe to 1,180, 1,190 at our lowest, but our enrollment has stayed kind of static even throughout. So because we'll be bringing back 1,200, the regular student population, the degree that we will have for physical distancing in classes and during lunches will be unlikely, but we will try our best where we can. Staff are encouraged to use large spaces, outside areas for classes when available. And as you can see in the cafeteria and during lunches, students will be eating lunch in the cafeteria, seated at tables like they would have pre-pandemic. But we will have use of outdoor space this year, especially when weather's permitting. But I like to say when we're returning to school this year, we're returning to school basically normal, but with masks on. We'll try our best to have social distancing and physical distancing, but as we said, with all students coming every day, the likelihood of having physical distancing will be very, very difficult, to say the least. There will be universal masking this year to include all spaces, and even this graphic has been updated because here it says if you're fully vaccinated, for staff members, when there are no students present, that you don't have to have your mask on. Even that has been updated. So Fairfax County Public Schools, if you're inside a school building, school offices, etc., you must have your mask on. And that includes students as well. When students go outside for PE, if they're transitioning between classes and they want to take their mask off while they're walking from one class to another while they're outside of a school building. For example, walking from the physical building to the modular or the physical building to one of the learning cottages out at the Falcon Scrape, they can take off their mask for a quick second, but as soon as they enter back into the building, they have to keep that mask on. Okay, let me make sure I go back. During lunches, students will wear their masks when they're not eating or drinking. So when they enter, they will have their mask on. When they go through the lunch line, they'll have their mask on. When they sit down to start eating, they can take their mask off. And as long as they're eating, they can take their mask off, or drinking, they can have their mask off. But as soon as they're finished with their lunch, finished eating and drinking, they have to put their mask back on for the remainder of the school day. and for the remainder of the lunch period. We will keep up our cleaning and sanitization measures. Custodians will be cleaning all high-touch areas throughout the school day, just as they did last year when we were in person for our hybrid schedule, and followed by cleaning up all classrooms in the evenings. All classrooms will be equipped with hand sanitizer and some disinfectant. And students are encouraged to wash their hands frequently throughout the school day. For contact tracing and notification, this year, families should conduct that individual health screener every day, but it's on the honor system. There's no form that you have to fill out. For some schools, you may have to fill out a form by a certain time in the past year, but now it's all on the honor system. The main thing we want to communicate tonight is if a student is not feeling well, please have them stay home until they feel well. In the event there is a confirmed positive COVID case, that information will be reported to the Fairfax County Health Department, and the Fairfax County Health Department will guide us in how to move forward. That'll let us know how to do the contact tracing, or they will do the contact tracing, and then they will make outreach to all close contacts. We will be in communication with the health department concerning if there's a need to have students quarantine as a result of a COVID positive case, and as well as they will let us know if there's a need for a class to be shut down or for Frost Middle School to be shut down for any reasons. But that is handled at Fairfax County Health Department and Fairfax County leadership level. And I'm told that that's going to be extremely rare that would happen. Okay. Here's a slide that gives you a little bit of information about the different types of thresholds and support during a closure for individual students. If a student is directed by the health provider to quarantine, the students will pause their access to in-person instruction while that contact tracing is being implemented. But they will also be able to access work through any work package that we're able to provide, either electronically or in paper copy if families would come and pick those packets up, or through the provision of asynchronous work through the learning management system, Schoology. And we'll talk a little bit more about Schoology in a second. And there, as for a class, there's specific information that will take a class to be quarantined, and then there's specific steps we have to take for each step. Okay, a little bit of information about arriving and leaving school. The one thing I would like to make sure everybody understands that I know everybody knows that we're currently under renovation, and in the morning in particular, the traffic can be extremely, extremely heavy. And that was before the construction and the renovation. And so we are encouraging all students who are assigned a bus to ride a bus. That's going to make everybody's life a little bit more easy in the morning, because being late to school in the morning because of the traffic and kitchen ride will not be excused. Okay, so make sure that you allow yourself time if you do decide to drop your son or daughter off in the morning, to give yourself plenty of time to get through the kiss and ride lane. Bus stop locations and times will be posted to SIS and your parent view account after August 10th. So it should be in SIS soon. They don't give us a specific date. They just say after August 10th. Students will wear their masks continuously while riding the bus. Again, parents, use the kiss and ride lane, but if you use it, just understand the traffic is heavy. So again, we encourage folks to ride the bus. The traffic will flow at a steady pace, so please do not drop off students along Pickett Road. Also drop students off, and so they have to cross the kiss and ride lane in the parking lot. That makes for a very unsafe situation. So again, I'll reiterate, we are encouraging families to please, please, please put your child on the bus if you are a bus rider. In the afternoon, the kiss and ride lane is not through our parking lot. The kiss and ride lane is along Pickett Road. So families will be able to, what they typically do is they double park along both sides of Pickett Road along that whole U. And students are directed to go out to the island in front of the school and locate their families after school. What I would say is, again, between 2 and 2:30 is when dismissal starts for Frost Middle School, when things start moving and we start seeing more buses coming to our bus lot here in the front of the building. So we encourage parents to start arriving to pick their children up after 2:25-ish, once all the traffic and the commotion has kind of settled down. A little bit about technology integration. FCPS will be moving into our second year at the middle school level. All students will receive a laptop just as they did last school year. Students will be issued their laptops and chargers during the first week of school. And as I mentioned earlier, those folks who came to our liftoff program today received their laptops today. We're encouraging students to take their laptop home every day for charging overnight, and for them to restart it periodically every 2 or 3 days, so the laptops keep up with all of their updates. We highly recommend a backpack with a laptop pocket. We gave everybody a sleeve as well, though. Or we will be giving everybody a sleeve to carry their laptop as well. So Schoology is our new learning management system. Schoology is replacing FCPS 24/7 or the old Blackboard. So all teachers will be using this program, and this is brand new to all of our faculty and staff. This is the first time they would have used it starting this school year. So there's going to be a lot of learning, a huge learning curve for our faculty and staff this year. It was piloted in a few schools last year, and it was in response to families concerned that we used to have Blackboard and Google, and families didn't know how they met or they couldn't access certain things in Google. So Schoology should solve a lot of those issues and concerns. Parents must have a SIS Parent View account to access their Schoology account. And Ms. Pugsley, actually, I talked to our school-based technology specialist today, and she said the reason why you couldn't get into Schoology, I think it was you, into Schoology quite yet, is because the information has not been downloaded into Schoology classes and that type of thing. You should be able to get into Schoology. All parents should be able to log into Schoology via SIS Parent View at some point next week when all the classes are uploaded through SIS. Okay, so students are automatically enrolled to their teachers' courses. Again, access will begin on August 19th. Parents will have a separate log on and you'll be able to see important updates, dates. You will also be able to access Schoology from our Frost Middle School page. You'll see information about assignments on Schoology. I did want to make sure that everybody understood that SIS is still the grade book of record until Schoology and SIS talk. So teachers will have to put assignments into both places. But if you want to know the most up-to-date, accurate information about your student's grade, then make sure you understand at this point in time, SIS will be the grade book of record. Okay. A few more important items for the first days of school. Again, you'll be able to see your schedules in SIS beginning the morning of Thursday, August 19th. 8th grade students that will be coming in for our Falcon Swoop on Wednesday will get their schedules that day. So if you're a parent of an 8th grade student, you'll get that schedule. And let's say you can't come in on next Wednesday or next Thursday. If there's something that's going on, you're going to be out of town next week, don't worry. All you have to do is email Mrs. Hornbecker, our Director of Student Services, and Mrs. Chang, our student registrar, and they'll send you the student schedule on Wednesday or Thursday. They'll send you the schedule and the map of the school. And then again, all students will be able to, if let's say a student loses their schedule over the weekend, on Monday, all students will have access to another schedule. We'll have schedules printed out in the cafeteria, and we'll give out extra schedules and extra maps. Students will not be lost the first day of school. As a matter of fact, teachers and staff will be out in the hallways and making sure that kids know that they're here to help that day. So even if you're not able to come to some of our orientation events next week, Students will have the opportunity to get their schedules and a map on their first day of school, and we'll have lots of help. And the good thing about it, we'll talk about it a little bit later, this year, is we won't have to worry about lockers because we won't be using lockers this year. And I'll explain that in a second. Obviously, everybody knows the first day of school is on the 23rd. A school supply list is posted on the Frost Middle School website and has been shared through the last couple of emails that I've sent out. Students are able to carry items with them in their backpack throughout the school day. Keeping in mind that students will have fewer textbooks assigned. A lot of the textbooks will be online if there are any at all. And that's typical across all Fairfax County public schools. And because of supply and demand due to renovation, not necessarily social distancing, hallway lockers will not be assigned this school year. If you're able to walk through the building, there are approximately 300 to 400 lockers that students don't have access to because they've been cordoned off by hallways that have been closed off due to renovation. And so I may have decided to not have students have lockers because of contact tracing and social distancing this year, but this year, because of renovation, is really the reason why we won't have access to lockers. Students will have to bring in their materials and using their backpack this year. We are finalizing our plans for PE classes and use of the locker room. I am optimistic and I believe students will be able to use that locker room to change out. Students will be encouraged to change into athletic wear for their classes, and your PE teachers will communicate all that information about whether to buy a Frost uniform or what students should be wearing during class during the first days of school. Fantastic news, breakfast and lunch are being provided free of charge to all students this year. One free breakfast and one free lunch. If you want to purchase more, you have to send your students with money or put money on their My School Bucks account. Cell phones are away for the day. However, students will be able to use them during breakfast, lunch, and I'll talk a little bit about the brain break with teacher supervision. It's my way of allowing students to have a little bit of freedom with their cell phones after having been away for 18 months and having really close connections with their personal devices. I wanted to make sure that while they're in class, everybody has a laptop. Every student has access to technology. So while in class, there's virtually no need to have a cell phone. But I feel, and I don't want cell phones out in the hallway, even though I know that happens at the high school, at Woodson High School. And so what I did decide was when they first arrive, as they get off the bus, during lunch, I did feel that it was appropriate if a student did have a cell phone that they could use it during those times. Okay, a couple of other items. Make sure you have your mask for the first day, your class supplies, a physical planner. We have not ordered planners for our students this year. They're going to use a e-planner, e-agenda that we'll have and we'll give information about during our Falcon Focus period. Their backpack and their water bottle. We do have a few water filling stations around the school that students can use to fill up their water bottles. Okay. Back to school night will be on Tuesday, September 14th. This will be a virtual event. The admin team and I will conduct 2 synchronous sessions to share information about different topics in our after school program. You'll get a chance to meet Mrs. Pudsley again, and you can see video presentations from our school board members, but teachers will be posting introduction videos and welcome videos for families to view asynchronously. Those 2 synchronous sessions, one will be held during the daytime and one will be held at night for our admin team for our back to school night virtual event. And that's just because the building, again, with the renovation, there's a lot of obstacles for hosting a back to school night in person, and also for equity purposes. A lot of families really enjoyed having the option to attend back to school night virtually last school year. Okay. Our new bell schedule is posted on the website. As you can see, we're on an all block day schedule. So odd days are our blue days, is A day. And gray is the even day, where Falcon Focus during fourth period. Falcon Focus is our period where we have students to have study hall, social and emotional learning lessons, activities. Our brain break will all be held during Falcon Focus this year. So you can see it'll be a block schedule, and each day is kind of spelled out on our calendar. So let's say if there's a snow day and we had an A day before the snow day, we'll just keep moving on to whatever day we come back will be that day that's already predetermined on our calendar. So the calendar has been set by Fairfax County Public Schools for all middle schools and high schools for this block scheduling implementation. During Falcon Focus, again, Falcon Focus is our time, for those who are not familiar, sort of a study hall. We are able to provide academic interventions, able to provide lessons for students for character development, social and emotional development, do things like our digital citizenship lessons, student rights and responsibilities lessons. A whole host of activities are held during Falcon Focus. And this year, you may see something that's kind of new for middle school. It's what we term the brain break, and this will be happening at all FCPS middle schools across Fairfax County Public Schools. Students will have a dedicated time either every day or every other day to have a brain break, a break away from screens, activities, and the like. So at Frost Middle School, we will have our brain break during that fourth period at Falcon Focus. And as you can see, we have broken it up so the 7th grade has their brain break from 9:10 to 9:25, and 8th grade would have theirs from 9:35 to 9:50. The first few weeks of school, I'm going to go to the next slide. The first few weeks of school, we'll be gathering information from students concerning, what they would like to do during those brain breaks, whether they like to stay in class and just kind of unwind with their Falcon Focus teacher. As you can see, due to the renovation, we have very limited outdoor space, but we will have some games that they can play outdoors. But for the first couple of weeks, until we get locations, rotations, and coverage kind of solidified, students will not be accessing outdoors for the brain breaks. But once we get those things kind of worked out, then students will be able to go outdoors with proper coverage and supervision during those brain breaks. Okay, and I'm going to stop there because I've talked for a long time. Okay, let me go back and stop sharing my screen, because I can talk a little about renovation all the time, but I'm going to open it up for questions now. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to turn on the chat and turn on the start video. Okay, and I can open it up now for any questions that you may have. If at the bottom of your screen, you may see a button that says more, or excuse me, reactions, and you can raise your hand, okay? And then I can call on you one at a time if you have questions for me tonight about what I've presented so far. So again, if you, at the bottom of your screen, if you're on your phone, you may see 3 dots that say more. If you're on your laptop, at the bottom, you may see reactions, and you can hit the raise hand feature to ask a question, or you can enter your question into the chat. And I think everybody has access now to either put something in the chat, unmute themselves, and or raise their hand. Does anybody have any questions for me? Is everybody still out there?
There's a question in the chat, Mr. Harris. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, I do. I do see if a student has a band instrument, are they supposed to carry that all the time? No. So our band and orchestra folks will have lockers for band instruments. And if they don't have lockers, they'll have spaces within their classroom. We have a couple storage spaces for students to store their instruments and their band equipment, so they don't have to carry that around all day long. That's a great question. Thank you. If you can't find the raise hand feature, Allison, I see you guys raised. Hi.
I do have a question. So how does dismissal work? Is it just like they all flood and find their bus? Because a lot of us are coming, for the last time our kids were in person, they were in elementary school and they
Yes.
called each bus.
Perfect. So yes, at the middle school level, we don't call each bus individually. What we'll do during the first couple of weeks of school, we will project, we'll have a Zoom link that teachers will be able to project in their classes. And we'll have a map of the front of the building, the parking lot in the front. And what will happen is you'll have all the buses, where they're located along the front of the building. And we'll say at this time, buses 15, 17, 29, and 22, you're now dismissed. Students will exit the building, and then outside, there'll be 2 or 3 staff members with signs that'll also have that same exact bus map that was projected in the classrooms outside. And we'll have folks directing them to the buses. The first couple of weeks or so, students are, they're not used to reading a map and figure out where stuff are. So they'll be asking a lot of questions. And, I'll make sure that the buses do not leave any students during the first couple of weeks of school. And then after a while, the buses will start to park in the same exact spot every day. So soon, we will stop projecting it on the screen in the classrooms. But when students dismiss for the day, the same 3 or 4 people will be outside in the front with their signs up saying, hey, bus 12 is here in spot A, bus 15 is in spot Z. Frost Middle School has approximately 40 to 50 buses because of all of our specialized programs. We have an advanced academic center. We have a deaf and hard of hearing center. We're a comprehensive services site. So buses are coming to Frost from all over Fairfax County. And so we are really diligent about making sure that every student that's supposed to be on their bus gets on their bus before the buses pull out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a separate question. So there's 4 lunch options, right? So when our students get their schedule, will they also get like which lunch block they're in?
Yeah, so what happens is lunches are held during 5th and 6th period. So students during the first couple of weeks, well, probably the first week, maybe the second week, I have to go back and check, but certainly during the first week, let's say on the first day of school, lunch will be held during the 5th period. And on the second day of school, lunch will be held on 6th period. So students, once they leave their 3rd period class, they'll go directly to 5th period. And depending on which lunch they have, the teacher will let them know. So all teachers will know which lunch they have ahead of time. And so for students who have a lunch, that first lunch, during that first week and a half, the teachers will walk the class down to the cafeteria. There'll be assigned seats for each teacher in the cafeteria over those first 2 weeks. So Mrs. Jones will have seats already kind of cordoned off for her classes. She'll walk the students down to the cafeteria that first week. The students will sit in that spot. Mrs. Jones will go back to class, and students will be able to eat their lunch. And so the students who are not in A lunch will automatically have B lunch. So 7th grade will have either A lunch or B lunch, and 8th grade will always have either C and D. And that's how we kind of delineate it. So 7th graders, when they go to class, they'll know whether or not they have A lunch or not. The first couple of weeks, the teachers will walk them down, at least the first week. And then after that, once they understand that on odd days I have A lunch, they'll just walk down to A lunch and go to the cafeteria. After a couple weeks, once the students are kind of settled in and they know which lunch they have, then we allow students to change their seats within a lunch period to sit close to friends. And we try to have an orderly fashion of how students can do that. And then once they've done that, then that is their seat, at least through the semester. But the first week and a half or so, we kind of walk students down just like elementary school. so they're acclimated to the lunch periods. So again, 7th grade students typically have A and B lunch. 8th grade students will typically have C and D lunch. Sometimes that, that fluctuates, but for the most part, that's how it operates. It's typically held during 5th and 6th period. And the first few days, the teachers will walk them down and they will let them know on this day, on A day, on blue day, you have A lunch. On, let's say on B day or the gray day, they'll have B lunch. And the kids will be able to write that down in their planners. And soon, they'll get it. Again, a lot of this that would typically cause a lot of anxiety or stress for students will be reduced because of lockers. Lockers really, even though students love them and I love them, I'm a strong proponent of students having their lockers. Lockers were a huge anxiety issue because students didn't know how to open them, or they didn't know the right locker combination. So that was a huge ordeal. So without the lockers, students can really focus on the main things this school year.
Thank you for that. I just remember when lunch schedules came out last year, my son was like, "Oh, I have a 120-minute lunch." I was like, "I don't think you do. There's an email somewhere." You gotta figure this out.
No. 30 minutes, going back to the old 30-minute lunches, absolutely. And they don't even need that long. They're usually done eating lunch in 10 minutes.
Totally different than those kindergartners who take they would take an hour and a half if you let them.
That's right. All right. I believe I'm pronouncing this right. Ms. Kavita Jain. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yes, that's correct. A couple of questions. Hello. So I guess kids typically don't have like a homeroom, right? Is it just based on the schedule that when they first reach school, they just go to whatever class is on their schedule?
Correct. So they'll go to their first period class that first day. And again, that first day they arrive, they will have everybody in Frost Middle School, all the admin will make sure the students understand where their classes are, but they'll go to their first period schedule that first day. Their first period that first day.
Okay. My second question is, so this year, will there be after school clubs?
Oh, yeah, great question. Thank you for that. Yes, there will be after-school clubs. The after-school program will start September 27th, once we're able to get our late bus started. But yes, we'll have after-school clubs right now, right? Anything can change, but as of now, there'll be after-school clubs. And Frost Middle School is known for all of our offerings. And we're super excited about making sure the students have the same offerings this school year as well. So yes, we will have after-school program.
Great. One last question. So I checked on Parent View and I can see the bus timings, and it gives the pickup time, drop-off time, but below that it says for 3 days there's a different drop-off time. Is that based on if they do any after-school clubs that there's a later bus, or?
Correct. Yeah, and more likely than not, that's correct. That's probably their late bus drop-off times. And late buses are typically on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays during the school year.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And sorry, just to jump in for a second, one of the forms is the form to give your student permission to participate in the after-school club. So in the email that was circulated, you can fill out that form.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Pugsley. Mrs. Herman, Kate Herman. Hi.
Hi. I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out. I cannot imagine how busy this week has been for you. I know my daughter was over there today for orientation. So thank you so much. I have a couple dumb questions. And one of them is, you just mentioned student planners or school planners. I am a little overwhelmed even just thinking about the lunch periods and such. Does the school provide the planners, or if we have a kid who might benefit from that, should we be picking one up so that they can jot their schedule down on an inside cover? How does that work in terms of keeping themselves on track?
Yeah, so students will all have access to an e-planner.
Okay.
And what happened was we tried to simplify the e-planner based on feedback from last year. And really, by the time I figured out that, I think everybody could benefit from a planner, like a planner, it was too late
Totally.
for them. So we
Right on.
ordered probably about 600 paper copies of planners, but they're not a traditional Frost Middle School planner, but it will suffice. So
Okay.
if anyone needs a planner, they can reach out to a counselor or to one of the teachers, and we'll make sure to get one. But we didn't order 1,000 or 1,200 of them. We just ordered enough to get us through. But the e-planner should be a little bit more user-friendly this year. In that planner, they can put in their lunch, their class schedule and their lunches. But however, if you feel like your son or daughter will need that organization tool at the beginning of the school year, and you don't want to wait and see if you can get one of those 600 planners, then yes, I would encourage you to send them to school with a planner.
I love that. I'm over here with my bullet journal. I'm not going to make her create her own whole scene here. We'll just.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes ideas are better
Yep.
in practice. And I was saying, all of the students have their laptops. So why do we need to waste paper and spend money on paper?
Right.
I want to do an e-agenda. And then this summer, when I was talking to my admin team, they were saying, well, hey, Mr. Harris, don't you have a physical agenda? I was like, well, yes, I do.
Matter of fact.
I don't have the patience to bullet journal, but I was like, yeah. Why am I making the kids have just electronic journal? So, but again, too late for me to order, a traditional one. So we do have some. I'm sure for additional students need that.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And then my second question really is in the weeds. I'm already thinking ahead to the weather. This is the first year I'm putting my kids on school buses. I've been going door to door for the past 6 years, and this is going to be a change. I'm already thinking she doesn't have a locker. Where's she putting her winter coat and her hat and her gloves and all of her stuff? Are they schlepping that around school with them all winter long? Should I be yanking it off her when she gets on the bus in the morning?
Oh, yeah. So again, things that you don't think about as you should. The short answer to that is yes. And at this point in time, we're not passing out lockers, but I guess I could think about if folks needed them, on a limited basis, I could see if I can open that up. But really, it's yes. I'm already anticipating teachers saying, Mr. Harris, I have all these backpacks, all these coats in my class. Students don't have space to move around. But an interesting fact is, I guess we're sort of getting practice for post renovation, because in the ed specs for Fairfax County Public Schools, all schools will have at max 50% of their population, the number of lockers, between 25 to 50% of their population. I don't know where that came from,
No kidding.
but
Okay.
yes, when the new school is here, we'll only have between 25% and 50% of our population that'll even have a locker. So, I guess we'll have to, get ready for it. But obviously, that doesn't give us anybody on this call tonight any comfort.
Well, that's all right. On a 100-degree day, we shouldn't be thinking about winter coats. So we'll just punt.
I've heard middle school boys don't wear winter coats.
Oh, no,
Basically,
shorts and
yep,
flip-flops.
exactly, all winter. So that should free up some space for those who do wear winter.
Perfect.
And I have stopped asking, are you cold? Question, because it's fruitless. And I also say a lot of those winter coats will be in our lost and found in the cafeteria, because for some reason, I guess since the kids don't pay for the winter coats and they don't really pay much attention to them.
The accuracy, Mr. Harris. The accuracy.
Winter coats, lockers, tennis shoes, hats, gloves, notebooks. Everything, you can, the lost and found in the cafeteria looks like a Marshall's around November, December timeframe.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. All right. Well, it is 6:57. I don't want to prolong and stop anybody from getting back to their families. If there are no more questions, we can wrap up. As always, you can always reach out to myself, to any of our admin team, to our Director of Student Services, or to your Student Services counselor. I asked some kids on Tuesday at the elementary school and I'm not sure if this is a function of the pandemic or just at the elementary school level, if they knew who their school counselor was. A lot of folks said no. But for your information and for your benefit, your child's counselor will be your main conduit to Frost Middle School and to high school moving forward. They're going to be your advocate. They're going to be your first point of contact. So in Parent View and on your child's schedule, you'll see your child's team that they'll be on, and you'll see information about the counselor. And then any questions that you may have, typically, the first person that you would email is your student's counselor. And that may be a little bit different from elementary schools, depending on your elementary school that you went to. But sometimes when parents email me with a question, I'll just forward that email on to the student's counselor or the student's grade level administrator to give any answers for any particular questions that they can answer. So make sure you take note of your student's counselor. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I'm super excited. You know, I'll tell you the truth, you know, it's just us 12 people plus whoever decides to listen to this recording, because we all have tons of time to just listen to recordings. I know we do. But I am excited and nervous as well. You know, like you saw, my daughter is going into the 5th grade, and we don't know, right? We don't truly know how this pandemic has affected our students. And we think we know. We see how they're interacting now, what they're doing now, how they're communicating with us now, but we don't really know. And so I can't wait to see students as they come back into the school building, how they interact, how they live. I just want to see students in their natural element, a place where some of our students haven't been for 18 months. Some of our students haven't been step foot into a school since March 13th, 2020, which is, I think, almost a little bit over 500 days. And so, you know, we're all going to have a lot of patience this year, admin, teachers, and families alike, as we help our students come back to, I wouldn't say normal, but I say, you know, normal adjacent. All right. Well, thank you, guys. I hope everybody has a great night. I hope this has been helpful. All the best to you, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Now, before you can hop off, I will say next week, I'll be in on Monday. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I figured I will. I'll be on Monday to do the opening teacher kickoff session. But then my wife and I, we planned a vacation way back before all the calendar was set. So we planned a vacation to head out to Martha's Vineyard next week. So, you know, if you're reaching out to me, I'll be away from Tuesday through Saturday, but I'll be back ready to go, refreshed on Monday for our students. All right. So just want to let everybody know, just in case you wanted to have that information. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.
Mr.
Thanks.
right, no
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.